Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Man Podcast. My name is Rory Paquette, and I am, as always, your host. We have an incredibly special episode of Power Man Podcast today. This is our first interview episode, and I wanted it to be this way. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the gentleman who's joining us today, but I got to tell you a little thing first. When I started Power Man Podcast, my wife asked me, "Hey, are you just going to talk all the time, or are you also going to do some interviews?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to do some interviews." And she said, "Okay, well, do you have anybody picked out that you want to interview?" And I said, "Yes, my first interview is going to be this particular guy I have on today." And she's like, "Huh, okay. Well, you sound pretty, definite about that. Why is that?" And I said, "Honestly, because he got to me so much with his story and his brand and everything else that I just stopped and bought a shirt right there on my phone without even thinking about it. And I don't do that. I think about it like for a day, for a couple days, for a week. I asked my wife, is this cool? Because, I don't want a shirt showing up and her going, what did you spend money on? Right. So I said, look, this thing hit me so hard and was so real. And this guy's story is so real that this is who I need to have on my podcast. And I said, so if I have to dog him until I die, I'm going to make sure this is my first interview. And I didn't have to dog him. He was very willing to come on here and talk to our listeners. So I hope that you folks appreciate it. Please help me welcome to our podcast, Justin Wegner, the owner, the head buffalo, the chief visionary of the brand Backbone Swag. And I'm going to let him explain that. But man, Justin, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Rory. Thanks for having me on, man. I tell you, I think all those things you described to me are just a little too much, over the top. I'm just an average dude. I'm from the east side of Dallas, almost into Crandall, Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas, and I've been, quite frankly, been to hell and back a few times. And I decided that I was going to start this brand, and I was going to do my best to always keep it real, always keep it honest, and just make sure that people have access to me. As I've grown and it's gotten bigger, my response times they've had to go longer because there's so many messages and so many. So like, as soon as I saw your message and you said podcast, I was game. So I was in, man. Like, whether you manifested it or spoke it into existence, I don't know. Like, your message hit me at just the right time where I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I like the title of your podcast because I believe that we have, as men, we have a duty to shine the light for others. And I think that if we all focused on doing that more, we wouldn't have as many lost souls as I feel like we do right now. People who are questioning what's going on in, or rather who's blindly following everything that's going on right now. I feel like we would have a lot more people asking a lot better questions and would be getting some sort of better answer. But right now, I connect with the people, or I want to connect with the people who share that mindset, who share that I want to push, not just manliness, but push the power that you have within yourself, for other people to see, light their way, be the lighthouse in their life. So thanks for having me on. I don't know where to start, but I'm down. Let's chat and hopefully your listeners, I hope you guys are able to check us out, but more importantly, I hope that you're able to get some value from anything I share, because that's at the end of the day, as we were talking before this, that's my goal, is add value.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you being on, and thanks for all the kind words. It's funny, the Power Man podcast is almost exactly the way you described it. That's masculinity is not something that we shy away from, but we're not a total masculinity podcast. There's a lot of guys out there that are doing a great job of doing that kind of thing. Ryan Mickler's one of the ones that I frankly think is just blowing it out of the water, talking about masculinity and
he's a good dude.
So but there's enough guys doing that, and the whole purpose for what I'm doing is to help guys that kind of feel like they're broken fathers, husbands, especially guys who are, a little bit older, have lived a little bit of life and have had life kind of knock them in the face and kick them down a little bit, and encourage them to get back up, and let them know, hey, even though you're older and even though you might feel like, well, it's time for me to just sit here and wait to die, there's more life. There's more to do. And all you got to do is believe in yourself and take action, and so we're always talking about that. And that's one of the things, I think when I reached out and talked to you, you were actually doing an Instagram story, and you were literally telling your story. Like, this is me. I'm the owner of the company. I'm holding up my phone. It looked like, I'm doing my story for Instagram. This is who I am. It's totally real. And I had to reach out. I'm like, you know what? Hey, this is the story I want to tell on my podcast. How do we make this happen? So I was like, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm contacting him right now, because I was following your account. So before I go any further,
you do it, man.
I got to ask you. I'm sure that some of our listeners are wondering, Backbone Swag and the Buffalo. Okay. I mean, there has to be a story there. The Buffalo is like the coolest logo I think I've ever seen. Got to be honest with you. That's why I bought the shirt right off the bat, because it looked awesome. And the name is just, there's no other way to say it without being trite, and just say it's cool as hell. So what's the name mean? Where'd it come from? How did you, Justin, say new company, Backbone Swag, logos of Buffalo?
So that's actually kind of, a lot of people will describe me as somebody who overthinks. I'll overanalyze. I'll think way too much about, not think about something before I take action, but I will think on things longer than most people. And I had, I did 75 hard. I don't know if you're familiar with Andy Frisella.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He has a 75 hard program. I did it while I was on the road. It was so tough. And I just remember having a really hard time. Blackbird coming in the warehouse. Weird. I'm never, like, blackbirds are just weird, the weirdest birds ever. I want to go on record and say that. Anybody who likes blackbirds, go. Jeez. Sorry.
It's for those people who are like just listening and aren't actually able to see the video. I mean,
sorry.
you're like in your warehouse. Like, I can see all the stuff behind you. It is awesome. And you got your door open and a bird's flying in on you during your interview.
He's coming in here to get a cricket. Actually, that's what he's doing. All right.
Let's see. He's doing you a service. You're good to go.
Yeah. Cleaning up around here. Yeah. Right. Sorry. So, everybody, I am in my warehouse. I thought this would be way better than my home office, and we'll get to why we still have a home office and the warehouse later. But I thought it'd be badass to have this as a backdrop. This isn't one of those green screen effects that they have on like TikTok or anything like that. No, this is the real deal. This is where we print, pack, and ship. Like I told Rory earlier, over 60,000 shirts just this year alone. It started one night. I just finished 75 hard, and I kept telling myself the entire time, just don't fucking quit. Like, I said those words so many times. Like, I wanted to quit. I wanted to give in. I had every excuse. I traveled. I was a professional photographer. And for those of you who don't know what photographers' jobs are when they go on location, it's to be there before everybody else, and it's to be the last one to leave, because you have to document the entire process. Well, trying to do 2 workouts a day, eating right, reading your 10 pages a day, drinking your water. No alcohol was easy for me, and I'll get into that here in a little bit, but not at first. The alcohol part wasn't easy at first, but it's easy now. But I just said those words, just don't fucking quit, so many times. And I was laying in bed, and I was like, man, I had a design for a shirt. I was like, I'm going to go design a shirt. So I designed a shirt, literally designed a shirt at 10 p.m. at night, just after I finished 75 hard. And I posted it on social media with the caption that said, you're going to want to, just don't. You're going to want to quit, just don't. And I don't think until then, I've never had anything like go like immediately. People say, want, where do I order? Want, where do I get this? So I was like, you know what? Let's start a store, because I don't want to take people's PayPal. I don't want to keep all track of information of people's shipping address and order size and all that stuff. So I was like, literally sitting there. My background picture is actually still the picture that I took, where the design came to life for what we call grit around here, the buffalo. I started thinking about like, don't quit. Like, are these going to be gym shirts? So I actually came up with a store name called Wrecked Shirt. That was actually the original name.
Okay.
And right before I started everything, I was like, Wrecked Shirt. It doesn't have the vibe that I want. Like, I want this to be strong. I want, like, what we need in people is strong backbones. And then the word backbone. And literally, I looked at my computer and the buffalo was there. That is the strongest North American animal, in my opinion, who's stood the test of time, who's come back from almost being extinct to now thriving. And just quite honestly, when you see these majestic animals in person, especially like we got to witness in Yellowstone, they are jaw dropping. It is amazing. I was actually on my hands and knees when I took the picture that came the brand. So yeah,
Wow,
10:30
awesome.
at night. I think by midnight or 1 o'clock, I had the store ready to roll. And by 7 o'clock the next morning, we took our first order. Backbone swag.
That's just absolutely awesome. That's inspired thought that leads to just immediate messy action. I mean, that's like the
I was in my
blueprint.
underwear when I did everything too. So like literally in my home office designing everything. That's another thing. I designed the logo. I designed everything that night. And it just took off. And
and you design all your shirts, right?
I design all my shirts. I did hire a designer in-house earlier this year to help me. I just felt like my stuff was getting stale. And as a creative person, you need to surround yourself with other creatives. I used to travel and I used to get creative thoughts from like airports, Ubers, dinner menus from out places we went to eat, like just any design around me, poster, billboard, whatever. I used to get design ideas. And so I used to see a lot. Now I travel the same path every single day. We don't go out much. So I'm pretty much seeing the same stuff. And it's like, I need some fresh blood. So had somebody come in and help me. He designed a couple shirts. And yeah, it's back to me and I love it.
That's awesome. And, I mentioned that your backdrop right now, for those who can't see it and are only listening to the podcast, is your warehouse, your office space. But that's not where you started this business.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So tell everybody how you actually got started, because it's a little Jeff, Bezos-ish, how you got things going.
All good things come from a garage now, right? I did have this meme that I saved on my phone one time. Like, it was like, Instagram, like when you go to the store, like the stories or whatever, you slide.
Yeah.
It was like Steve Jobs, Amazon. And then there was me in the garage. Cause it's like, I just thought that was kind of neat, right? Not trying to say like I'm them yet, but yeah, we started in the garage. It started literally, as I mentioned, I was a photographer. In February of 2020, I lost all of my contracts because marketing agencies were canceling all needs for any photographer, any professional outlet like what I was doing. Canceled them on the spot.
COVID related type stuff when that happened? Is that what it was?
100%. Yeah. 100% COVID related. They didn't know what was going to happen. So they cut all the budgets. They cut the people. So I added it up. It was over $100,000 in contracts in a matter of days.
Ouch.
Almost in one day. I only had one gig that still held on, and it was a wedding later on in the year. So that was cool. But
okay.
So I created this shirt because I was, I did this just on the side. It was all side project just to my, my photography stuff, because I was like, I like to wear apparel that speaks my mind. I would like to wear apparel that people know, like, this guy, like, he's going to be strong-willed. He's going to be strong-minded,
Okay.
So I decided that I was is going to do this shirt. And so I had more of these shirts made than most than I ever did. And I actually heat pressed them. They were heat pressed with screen print transfer. So what you can do with screen printing ink is plastisol. You could like lay it down on this sheet of paper. It's called transfer paper. It's kind of like wax paper. You send it through a dryer and it gets gel cured. Well, whenever you heat apply it to 375 degrees, it actually cures the ink to the shirt. So it gives it this really nice soft hand feel. Well, I had 65 shirts made, and I had no way to make money at the time because COVID hit. Just right. Everything was just against us. We had people owing us a lot of money because of gigs that they didn't pay because they didn't get paid. And I just looked at my wife and she's like, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I'm going to sell these shirts and we're going to do a giveaway with $750 cash. She was like, Justin, what account has $750? And I said, none. We don't have an account that has $750, babe. But don't worry. I'm going to sell these shirts and we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to give away $750 cash because what that'll allow me to do is sell those shirts, buy more shirts, create more shirts, and sell those shirts to get $750 to do a giveaway. And I think I can do it in a month. And we did it in 14 days. Actually 11 days. We did it 11 days.
So you literally bootstrapped that whole thing. You sold the shirts to make the money, to use the money to pay the prize up. I mean, you did it with like nothing.
Nothing.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah. Started with nothing. I went all in with, I had the 65 shirts. I already spent the money to get the 65 shirts made. Right. And so like I had enough inventory of the screen print transfers that I could make more once I sold more. But I was literally at one box of shirts. That's all Justin could afford. Everybody owed me money. I couldn't make any more money at the time. Nobody wanted to go do photo shoots because they thought if they met with somebody who didn't believe in COVID, that they were gonna die. Not that COVID's not real. I'm not trying to say that. It's just right. My belief on it is it's different than a lot of people, at least around here. Sure. So
totally understand.
Yeah. I know that's like a touchy topic with people, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive because people like we've lost loved ones to it. Like we certainly have lost people that are close to us, family members, because of treatment malpractice, but whatever. Anyway, so we had those shirts and I bootstrapped it and started in our garage once, and that giveaway took off. I did a secondary giveaway, and then we ended up like, that's whenever I told Lindsay, I was like, we're running, because I did all this off my own Facebook page. Everything was off my personal Facebook page.
Wow.
I ran it off of Backbones, but people were there because of me. Hey, check out the giveaway I have on my business page. Check this out, Well, we ended up getting so many sales from that, and I got tired of heat pressing. Heat pressing just takes so long when you're doing these shirts, like front and back. It's really cumbersome. So I've always known how to screen print. Like I used to screen print my own t-shirts for my hunting business that I did, which I used to cure in my home oven, by the way. You have to cure shirts at a certain degree. So I would take the shirts off of my press, put them on a cookie sheet, and put them in my oven for 2 minutes.
Wow.
It was really inefficient. I burned a shirt and I almost burned our house down. So I don't do that anymore. I don't recommend that either. So
bottom line is you're willing to do whatever you got to do. People are going to hear this and be like, oh, I could do that, but I don't have the money for this and I can't do that. And you're sitting here going, I don't have the money, but I'm just going to find a way to do it. Right.
Yeah.
What you got to do.
I decided that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let some like conveyor belts like this one right here that we have is like $3,700. Wow. I didn't have money to do a $750 giveaway. I damn sure didn't have $3,700 for a dryer.
Right.
So fast forward to getting into Facebook advertising, online social media advertising. I decided I just wanted to give it a go. So we spent $50 a day on advertising. Took a while to get my wife convinced to even do that. And keep in mind, we're like 3 or 4 months like just into making any money from this endeavor. Plus we I mean, everything that we made paid our bills. Like we didn't go do anything. We barely had money for groceries. Like, but we paid all our bills and we were all happy. Like that was the time of my life where I think every man comes to a point in life when you realize like money is great and it achieves things to go do things, have experiences and share those experiences with other people and just help people. But there comes a point in your life, I think, when you realize that none of it matters. And what matters is those that you're with and the roof that you're under. Like that's what that was my point where I was like, fuck this. Like I have nothing to lose. Like I have everything I need. Like and you're not taking this from me. So I decided we did Facebook ads, and she was reluctant at first. We spent a lot of money without getting a single sale. Just like anything, it takes the engine to get, you got to get it warm before you can start revving. And we, I'll never forget. We finally started hitting some Facebook ads. We started making some sales. Like I remember the first stranger that bought a t-shirt from us. I was like, holy hell, that's awesome. Like I was just like, we have something. When you have that like one sale from a complete stranger and they email you and they're like, I'm excited about my shirt. You're like, I'm even more excited that you are excited.
I know exactly how you feel.
So I was like, I decided that I was down for, spending more. So we started spending a little bit more. And when I say more, $75, $100, like that was the most we were spending a day, which to some people that may sound like a lot, but we literally, I personally know people who are spending $10,000 a day on Facebook advertising. And I know of people who spend $60,000 a day in advertising, social media. So for us to spend 100, it's not a lot, but to some people it is a lot. And to us at the time, it was more than we could afford. But we were like, we have to grow this thing.
So was this money coming out of the profits from selling the shirts, or did you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, because
like we have zero to this day. We have zero outside funding to this day.
I was going to ask you that. So no partners, no debt, no loans, no outside funding, no nothing. Just literal bootstrap.
I have one partner, and I'm getting to that with our screen printing equipment because he also owns a t-shirt business. But that was that's the only partner that I have, and he's my best friend. And he's like, I think he was just like, yo, dude. He's like, you teach me how to screen print, I'll partner him with you. I'm like, cool, whatever, sounds great. Let's roll.
Okay.
Super cool dude. Anyway, so we
so $100 a day on Facebook. Just on Facebook, not Instagram, also just Facebook you're talking
about. Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, so Facebook social media together, $100 a day.
All right. $100 a day. And then we finally got to the point where I'll never forget, it was Father's Day weekend. And that was the day where I was like I started, like, we woke up to sales and I was like, this is awesome. Whoa. Okay. And I talked to Lindsay. I was like, look, we've already made our money back on ads today. Let's spend more. So she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. Like I will take $150 loss for us to spend $300 today. Like, I think we've got the rest of the day. Like, can't tell me that we can't sell another 7 shirts to cover that cost. She's like, no, you're right. Okay. Well, unbeknownst to her, I didn't just go up in budget. I almost 6 times that budget. Yeah, that was the first day we spent $600 on advertising.
You're still married, right?
Still married. Yeah, this woman, I push the boundaries. Like, but I'm also a very loving husband, and she knows that I do nothing without the intention of helping. Nothing is self-serving. It is all 100% like to better our family, our business, my kids, her. Like that is it. So when you have that trust, you can kind of just say like, look, just trust me on this. I have this feeling, and I'm very in tune with that feeling. And I talk to her and I talk to other people that are around me that are close. Like, when Justin has this feeling, he's typically not wrong. Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have told me not to send as many emails as I do. Like they're like, don't, you should not send that many emails. And I'm like, no, like I kind of don't care what you think. This is what's connecting me to my audience. Like,
Yeah.
just straight up don't care. And I've had people tell me that my emails have saved them from committing suicide. I've had emails from them telling me like this helped them through a job loss, a parent loss, a spouse loss, a kid loss, like some heavy shit. And like, you can't, like, this isn't, it is about selling t-shirts because that's the medium in which we do this, but there's more to life than this.
Yeah.
So
so you're at your Father's Day. How did that work out?
We made more money that day up to that point than we had ever.
So you 6 times the budget.
6 times the budget and definitely like quadrupled the revenue.
Nice.
So we did more. We did more in that. Now, we would have done more if we didn't have to spend that in advertising, but we had to spend that in advertising. So it was just it was a lesson for my wife to just like say like, look, this is a machine. As long as we know how to work this machine, it'll work. But we got to be careful with it. And we ended up breaking all of our ads the next day. Killed it all. Like went from doing as much revenue as we did to spending the next day. We spent $400 and I think we sold about $400. So you eat up a profit pretty quick when you have that kind of that loss. So yeah, I don't even know what point in the story or what question I'm asking or answering right now, but yeah, that was it. That was the day we really started to see everything turn for us, and I saw potential. I saw strangers buying this, who have the same story as you. Like, hey man, I was attracted to your story because you made me feel like a good human being, and like that's what it's about.
Right. Absolutely. I don't ever worry about where you are with the story. I mean, just honestly, keep on talking, whatever comes in your mind, because, you and I spent more than a half hour just in the pre-interview, you know what I mean? Just going back and forth. I mean, so you've got a lot to offer, and a lot of the folks who listen to the podcast need to hear it. You know, they need to hear that it isn't just some guy on the podcast saying, listen, believe in yourself, you can do this. I need to be able to point to somebody and go, and here's why you should believe in yourself. Because here's this guy, Justin, who really did all the stuff we're talking about, and look at him now. You know what I mean? So you're kind of living, breathing example of this is how it's supposed to work, you know? So, and that's big for a lot of our folks, because, I get emails and questions all the time, hey, it sounds easy. Hey, it's easy for you to say, so on and so forth. I want to deviate for a minute because, when I first started this podcast, I was doing the paralysis by analysis thing. Yeah, I knew that there was a million different things I wanted to get right. And how am I going to do this? And I got to have that set up. And my wife, I'm sitting there in the living room and I'm working on something and I'm writing like the 15th notebook of stuff I feel like I have to write down. Right. And my wife looks at me and goes, you know what? Why don't you just go record? And I'm like, well, I'm not ready to record. She goes, no, listen, just go record. You don't have to record an episode. Just go record and start. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And to make my wife happy, I'm like, sure, I'm just going to go do this. And I came down and I set everything up and I got the microphone. And I said, I'm just going to record. So I did. And I got my first episode out of it.
Just recording.
It just happened. And I'm like, holy cow. And I went back upstairs and she's just smirking at me like, yeah, it worked, didn't it? So that story leads me into, you mentioned your wife a lot, and it sounds like she's been, she's been cautious, but it sounds like she's really supported everything that you've done and had your back and everything else. How has that dynamic been with, all the risk you're taking, and how's she handling it, that type of thing?
I'm just gonna be blatant with you. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not easy for what people probably think. I'm a very hard person. Like, people like me, but I'm a very hard person to get along with. And that seems very counterintuitive for as much people like me, because I'm a perfectionist. I will stop at nothing and no one will get in my way. Not a single person, and not my wife. My wife will not get in my way for the things that I want. Now, that being said, that seems very egotistical and arrogant for me to say. That being said, she knows how much she comes first in my life. Like, she knows that I literally do nothing without the intent to make something better. There's not a thing I do without the intent to make something better. Could be moving a box over here, as little as it sounds. See those boxes where those hats are? I'm pointing to the box where the hats are.
Yep.
I spent a pretty stupid amount on boxes to hold hats. And she was like, I don't know why you did that. And I was like, just trust me. And I cut all those boxes up and I put hats in there. And then she came to me the next day and she was like, I'm really glad you did that. Like, it helps us packing orders. And I was like, yeah, see? What I'm getting at here is because I think a lot of people start something and they think you're going to have the support of everyone. And they think you're like, anybody who has spousal support from the beginning, I'm envious of. Like, I'm like, that's awesome. You've had that support. My wife supported me, but she wasn't there pushing me. She supported it. She wasn't pushing me. She wasn't saying like, well, why don't you just do this? Like, she was there. Right. And that's what matters. Now she's to the point where she's like, she is helping. Like, I look at it as like, we're each other's crutch. Like, on the days that I'm down, she's there to like just lean on. And on the days she's down, I'm there. She could just lean on me. But it wasn't always that way. We had a very tumultuous relationship in the beginning. We were engaged twice, called off the marriage twice, and finally the third time. Every single time I asked her to remarry me or to marry me, I asked her dad, and then finally the third time her dad said, Justin, nothing that you guys do is going to be perfect in life. At times you're going to need to lean on her, and other times she's going to have to lean on you, and it's going to be up to you guys to just put your bullshit aside and just work on it together daily. And since then, I've been committed to making sure that anything I do is to better those around me. And I think she's felt that. So she has been my biggest supporter now. But in the beginning, it's hard to get people to support a vision when they can't see it. And you can't take off your glasses and turn them around and put them on this person.
Right.
It would make things so easy. But just like with the advertising, that was a hard one to get her to see. Some of the promotions that we've done have been a really hard thing for me to like show her, like, hey, this will work. Like, because at the end of the day, this is a business and we have to keep the roof over our heads. But I do everything that we do with the intention to helping other people, getting other gear, getting a free t-shirt, getting a free hat, getting free stickers. Like, people knew how much it costs to run this thing. Like, I don't think they'd ever start. It's insane.
Wow. I mean, those are pretty big words, so yeah. You're, I assume you're happy with where you are, in the business and stuff right now, right? I mean, you're moving forward and so on and so forth.
Well, I want to answer this because I've never had somebody ask me this outright. Am I happy where I'm at? I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. Like,
good
I'm
answer.
not like I'm hungry to know that there's more than this. And there are other people who, quite frankly, I could connect with, much like you and I did. Like, your message when you're like, dude, I need you on this podcast. On it. Like people need this. Like, and I'm not naive to think and trying not to be as arrogant either, is like God's put me on here for a very specific reason, and I finally found my purpose. Now I just got to get to more. That's it. Like, that's the more people you get in front of, it's a numbers game. The more people you get in front of, the more people you can help. And eventually you're going to get in front of a lot of people who just like talk shit and think you're not going anywhere, which I've already been through a number of those. But then eventually you're going to get to the good people who are like, hey, I like your story, and I think my podcast listeners would like to listen to your story, and I want you on my podcast, and I want to make sure you're the first one that I interview. Like, that to me, that's why I do this. The people. So yeah. I think it's a long way to answer. Like, she's like, my wife, if she listens to this, I love you. Just know, like, you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to feel like you don't have their support, but deep down they have your back.
Yeah.
And that's where her and I are at. We're very good at, we'll get heated. We'll get real heated and be like, she'll straight up say like, you're an asshole right now. Like, just so you know. And I'm like, I know, but I just check this out. Like, just stop thinking that this isn't going to work and just trust me right now. Just check this out. And that's been, we've had to learn a lot over the last year and a half of working together, because this is also, she's right here. She helped me ship so much in Q4 last year. She helped me write a lot of thank you notes. She helped me grab shirts off the dryer and fold them. Like, just so everyone knows, we would not be here without her.
Yeah.
100%.
That's good. I mean, hey, that's a fantastic answer. It's honest, which is what we're all looking for over here. So,
yeah.
And then how your responsibility in dealing, with your wife, and that sort of thing is something that, we talk about a lot on the podcast. It's not always easy, but it's not just your obligation, it's your responsibility and it's your privilege. When you're married, it takes two, and that's what you've got to work on. So the fact that she is there, and you are talking to her, and she is supporting you, that's big. Even if it wasn't, gangbusters at the beginning, she didn't tell you no. You know what I mean? She didn't like take a stand and say, if you do this, I'm out of here, or anything like that. So those are big differences. I'd like to, go a little bit on the path. You kind of took us here on a segue, which is awesome because, you're a great guest. But this all started, with, you and a product, an awesome shirt, some awesome sayings, a seriously cool logo, and it's an apparel company, right? And that's great. But you haven't just left it as an apparel company. Like, I've been following you for a year, so I mean, I've gotten to see this entire thing. I didn't just like find Backbone Swag yesterday on my feed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
you have one of the OG t-shirts.
That's right, man. I didn't realize how valuable this thing was until we talked earlier. I may stop wearing it and put it in a box now. I'm like, hanged up, but it just means I got to order another one. So, but the fact of the matter is, you've taken this, and it isn't just the apparel company anymore. You've created this movement. I mean, for real. And you market it as gear for the bold and determined. I saw that on your website yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And your posts are not about your apparel. Your posts are about connecting with people, encouraging people, inspiring people, and you share some opinions about things that are going on, in the world, like you talked about, a little bit earlier. And you're not afraid to put yourself out there. But I assume that this is where you wanted to go, or is this like it sort of ended up going this way and you don't mind following it? I mean, how did the movement come about out of the apparel company? Because it's strong. You got like 13,000 people following you on Instagram right now, from what I saw, right? That's not just you and me having a chat in a garage. That's a legit movement you have going here, Justin. So tell me about it. How did it start? Where are you going with it?
Yeah. So how it started versus how it's going. I think like the phrase that comes to my mind is the truth will always stand the test of time. Like you like, lies will always break down. People who try to cheat in life will never be there in a year, right? Like, I've seen apparel companies come and go in such a short period of time. They can't, because they're only there to sell a t-shirt.
Right.
Keep in mind, we're all buying the same t-shirt to print on. Okay. I knew when I started this, and this has just been me in life, I'm different. I've always been the fucking odd duck. I've always been the person who felt like he didn't fit in. I always felt like the person who, I had an opinion, but I was so afraid to say it at such a young age because I was just 17 or I was just 18. There's no way you've lived enough life to do that, right? Then I got to the point where I started getting myself out into the real world. For those who don't know, I started working when I was 12 years old. I started building a business with my dad at 12. doing media production. I was the person working in the background that no one knew about. Okay. So whenever I first started saying like, Dad, I'm ready to have some, like, get some credit here. Like, but he was trying to protect me from people who were going to see me as a 16-year-old saying like, there's no way. I was producing national televised TV shows at 16 years old. And whenever they finally found out that I was the one producing them, they literally sent the episode back and said, we need it re-edited. This isn't good enough. Because I was the 16-year-old who edited it.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad gave it to me, and guess what? I re-edited it and didn't tell them that I did, or didn't tell them that it was me, and it passed their inspection. So what I'm getting at here is age has always been a number with me. It's always been a number I fought. And growing up, I always had older friends. I was a freshman in high school and my friends were seniors, just the way it worked. I was always friends with the older crowd because I was kind of older inside. I had spent years maturing before people were even hitting puberty. I was already into making money. I was already into making sure that my parents' electric bill was paid for. And we started working, and we can go down this path if you want. I started helping my dad provide because my mom was a drug addict and an alcoholic. So it was like she always needed money, and my dad always needed money for her to need money. So what I'm getting at here is I knew since day one of starting Backbone Swag that I'm different, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Your opinion, I don't care who you are. I don't care what position you're held. I've been at, I almost said the name. I'm glad I didn't. But I've been at private meetings with certain OEM people for big brands. And I've seen them do some like shady ass shit and then publicly act different. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, y'all are two-faced as it gets. Y'all are two-faced as it gets. And some of those same people were the same people that were telling me to watch my mouth. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna fucking listen to you. Like, I don't even care if you sign my paychecks. Like, you're two-faced and I do not care. So I went into Backbone Swag saying like, this was gonna be my brand, that this was gonna be my legacy. This was gonna be something that people could take and cling onto. And I didn't want it to be fake as shit. I wanted it to be something that people, whenever they held onto this, they knew that through and through, whether you walk through my big roll-up garage here, or you go to my house, or you come and eat dinner with me, I'm tearing up right now because like this is fucking passion for me. But I want people to know that you will not find somebody more authentic, and that is, I want somebody to know whether you see me on social media or in person, I'm the same person. And there was a time in the beginning when I wasn't sharing these quotes. I was sharing the, hey, let's share our product, let's get that in front of people type post, because quite frankly, my wife is a good marketer. My wife worked for Yellow Pages and Super Media, and she did online advertising for people a long time. But I just felt deep inside, I was like, I started sharing some of my quotes. I started sharing some of the things I said. And she's just trying to be a good wife and protect us and protect her husband, you know, as she's trying to do. But she's like, yo, Justin, I don't think you should speak that way in this. And I said, and I'll never forget telling her this. Is like, I honestly don't care what you think. This is what I feel, and I'm going to share what I feel. And if they don't like that, I'm not for them. Because I wanted this brand to be that somebody could cling on to and say, yo, this guy is real. Like, I can buy the same type of shirt from somebody else, but I want to buy it from him because he's real and I connect with him. I connect with his message. I connect with the things that he says because he actually lives it. So she was not a fan of the way I spoke on social media in the beginning, and rightfully so, right? Like, you're trying to protect your income for your house, and you have your husband dropping the F-bomb in a post. Like, it could, like, normal put this in quotes, but
Right.
average people are not going to do that. And I've always known that I'm not average. I've always known that I'm me. And I got really burned out in the corporate world as a photographer, watching people just be fake as shit. Like they would literally, I'd be on like conference calls with people and they would like mute it and they would cuss the person out and then unmute and act like they were best friends. And I was like, nah, not me. Like, you're going to know where you stand with me at all times. And that's so to answer your question. This is where I always wanted it to go.
Okay.
This is where I wanted the brand to be. I wanted to have our market share to know, like, we're going to be the brand that maybe not everybody likes, and that's okay.
Love your answer. Love your answer. And I got to be honest with you, it's one of the reasons why I bought the shirt. You know, I mean, I could have bought a shirt from anybody. There's a bunch of cool stuff out there, but I just I connected with it, you know, and, you know, I love the sayings because, you know, I feel like the stuff that's on them is stuff that I actually say in normal conversation. Like when I'm trying to teach my boys lessons or something, I'll say these things. And so it's not corny or, you know, contrite or anything. It's just totally real and legit from the get-go. You know, I know that, you know, guys that are my age, you know, grew up in a world where you couldn't express yourself like that. And we learned, hey, you don't curse in public and you don't do this. I mean, you know, you're old school. This is how it works. And so to be able to express yourself in some way, whether it's through a shirt or through reading somebody else's posts, you know what I mean? A lot of guys are reading them like I read them. Okay. And they're going, yeah, that
I get
right there,
that.
that's how I feel, you know, damn it. You know,
and if that like helps strengthen your backbone, that's what this is for, right? Like
exactly.
It's not for me to be like, well, I have a strong backbone, good try, go ahead, try and break mine. No, it's like I want people to read these things and read these things and know, number one, you're not alone. Like, because a lot of them are like, I can't think of one off the top of my head. They're all original, they're all mine, but it's
Right.
all just like, hey, you got to let people go. You've got to let the bad energy away. You've got to cut ties with certain people, and sometimes those people are your family. Like, it's real. I've had to stop talking to some people in my family because their energy has literally brought me nothing but down.
Yeah.
So read for you guys to read them like that. Like that's why I share it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're doing a good job of it. I hope you don't stop. So
no, I ain't stopping.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let me turn a little towards business. Okay. And then I want to go back another direction. If you have time, I mean, if you need to go, please let me know. I'll cut it off. But if you got the time, I want to keep, you know, pulling out of here.
Let's do it.
The back to your business, you know, I wanted to talk real quick just because, you know, hey, I do want to promote your business. You know, we're talking on a podcast. You've come a long way with the website and with programs you're offering and everything else too. You've got a monthly VIP program, you know, that you do. You've got ambassador program now, which I saw you put up on social media. And I mean, while I was thinking about, you know, sending it off to my boys or something, you know, you were like, hey, we got wiped out. We're full.
You know,
happened in like an hour,
on the ambassador program. While we're on it, I've got to go on social media and just apologize because we haven't officially kicked it off. I just literally have been printing so damn much that I can't sit down to say like, okay, these are the people we're going to select. I mean, and I did select 5 people, but I want to select more. I want to go through and get more. But I literally, the people that we've even like gone through, I haven't got anybody any gear. I haven't even made an official announcement like, hey, these are the people we've selected. And because it's just been time.
Well, you shared that you got bombarded.
Yeah. I had no idea that many people wanted to support us. Like it blew my mind. I couldn't get through all the messages.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I saw that you have you've got affiliate marketing now, like an affiliate, you know, program too, where like you're paying a percentage to people who want to market your stuff. So, I mean, you didn't have all that stuff at the beginning, right?
No,
and this is all evolved as part of the business. So, tell me about those programs and about the VIP, just so everybody knows kind of what's out there and what's available, right?
Yeah. So, you know, Backbone Swag actually started as a monthly subscription only. That's what it was in the very, very beginning. I decided to take that away and just only sell t-shirts because I didn't want to do the monthly stuff. I just wanted to, whenever Justin has a good idea for a shirt, I just want to launch it and get it out there in the universe. After everything started to take off, I had a lot of people reach out and say like, yo, I think you would make it, like, this would make a sick subscription. Like, would you be interested in doing that? And I responded to those people. I was like, yeah, we'll give it some thought. Deep in my mind, I'm like, I literally just stopped doing that. Because where were you guys in the beginning?
Right.
And so I ended up, so we ended up adding the subscription back in October of last year. So we were just, 1 year fully into this again.
Okay.
We do the monthly VIP. The monthly VIP, it's $20 a month. You get a t-shirt every single month. You're getting 20% off all your future orders. Like you'll get like a special code, and then you get free shipping on everything. And right now it's $20 a month. So all of our prices just got raised. Prices for shirts, prices for, obviously we're having somebody help me print. All our shipping costs almost raised by 30%. Yeah. So for those that don't know, apparel, there's not a big margin at all. So right now it's $20. And I think that's a cool thing. I like the monthly because it comes with it's over there. But I send a note in every single monthly shipment that describes where this shirt idea came from and how I hope it helps you. And then, we did also add, we're trying to get the ambassador stuff kicked off. We do have affiliate marketing. So like anybody who uses your link, you'll get a kickback. I think it's 15% or 10%, something like that. But it's just our way of like just saying thank you, because we like, I made a post about this morning. Like, we know, as much as like we can say this is more than apparel, a t-shirt, we would not be here if we weren't selling. So we quite frankly, we need every sell we can get, especially right now with social media changing its game. But we will still continue to be here. We will fight through. I will go moonlight other projects to pour money back into this one to keep this rolling. Like I'm committed till I die. Like this is my purpose. This is my mission. And until God calls me to do something else, this is it.
Right.
So, that's what we offer in t-shirts. And I keep coming back to this because like, I feel obligated to say like, yeah, it's a t-shirt company, but it's like, I almost hate even saying that. Like we make apparel for the bold and determined.
Right.
But it's also about like getting the person who wants to be bold and determined. Like, wear these shirts because this is the message you either embrace or you want to embrace that day or days moving forward. Like, it's like when people wear a shirt, it's a part of their identity. And like, I want this to be like, when I go out and about and people see my shirts, I wish people commented on my apparel while I was out in public like that. Like, I hear a lot of people do other people, but they just don't. I guess I have this like do not disturb look on my face or something. I don't know. Like, it just like, I've had a few people reach out and just say like, dude, that's an awesome shirt. I'm like, cool. It's my apparel company. And they're like, what? You make t-shirts? I do. So yeah, again, I feel like I'm a horrible interview because I don't answer questions directly.
I love that.
Take me on a journey and a path. But yeah, that's it. Like, we sell t-shirts, but like, I don't know, give us a try. You'll learn it's way more than that. And who knows, maybe you're going to be like one of the few people that have emailed me and say like, I didn't need life advice, buddy. Awesome. See you later.
Yeah, I doubt that. I doubt that. I don't think you're going to get too many people who identify with what you're doing who are going to come back and go, yeah, man, just please stop talking.
I've had people respond to emails saying that.
You're like, kidding me.
I'm not. No.
I mean, I get your emails. There's nothing in your emails that's like, obtrusive or something.
Yeah, a guy wrote in and said, he's like, I think he said something like, if I would have known buying a t-shirt I'd get life advice, I would have never bought a t-shirt.
there's an unsubscribe button on the email, right?
Yeah, I hit it for him.
I mean, I was going to say, so a
Yeah.
guy who voluntarily signed up for emails from you called you to tell you or sent a message saying he didn't like them.
He didn't
See,
like him.
that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, and you know what? You get this is, you know, maybe your podcast listeners, if there's a nugget I can give anybody is do what you feel is right in your heart always, because there's going to be plenty of people who are messed up in the head, and don't let their messed up in the head mess up your heart. Like,
Nice.
that's like life advice 101 that I live by. Like, just because you're having a fucked up day in your fucked up world and your fucked up head, you're not going to get to my heart. Like, my heart is pure. I know where I stand, and I know that this is my mission and purpose. And you got to realize you're not going to be for everyone.
You know, that's good advice. Let me ask you, I want to turn down a different direction here, because, you know, while I love the fact that everybody who's listening to this gets to hear, hey, you know, if you take action, you can do this and you can have success. That's great. You know, but, you know, you shared a lot with me in the pre-interview, you know, about, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, you know, and yeah, I've got a successful company, you know, but, you know, here's all the hard work that goes into it. Here's some of the pitfalls of it, you know, and you shared two things in particular that, if you don't mind, you know, I'd like to bring up. You know, the first is, you know, you had some pretty rough times with a legal issue,
Yeah,
right, at the beginning. And then, you know, the second one was you were pretty down
yeah.
after a
That's
while.
all what it is, suicide.
Okay. So, I mean,
I'm not
pick
afraid
one
to
and
talk
go
about
there.
it. Yeah, I'm not afraid to talk about it, because again, like anything in my journey, if it helps one person, that's worth it to me. Um, uh,
That's what I say every day on my podcast.
yeah,
Right.
if it helps one person, then it's worth it. Like, you got to
Worth it.
live that way, because you know, before I answer those questions, something that a lot of people don't do is they don't live by. I think you do. Is they think that, like, they need to go change the world. Like, they set out on a mission, I'm going to change the world, and they totally skip helping their neighbor.
Hmm.
They don't help their neighbor, but they'd rather help a stranger on the internet. And it's
Right.
like, that's cool, but what about helping your neighbor? Like, if you have a good neighborhood, good strong neighborhood, then go to your community, and then after your community, then go to the state level, and then after state level, then go global. Like, that's how this all started. I started t-shirts with my personal Facebook page, with the winner of our one $750 giveaway that we did in the very, very beginning lived like 8 houses down. It was
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I was able to walk down there and be like, knock, knock, guess what? You won. So yeah, as you mentioned, you know, being up top, there's definitely some valleys. There's peaks to every valley and valley to every peak. I try to live my life as quickly through the valleys as I possibly can while taking in the experience, but sometimes it gets really, really dark and you don't think that there's a way out. You think like you've reached the end of the earth where you're supposed to go and this is it. And I've had two, one really severe suicidal experience where it was like, it was dark. Honestly, it was this year because we were doing so well. And then it's like changes come and rip the rug out from underneath you. And you like, you have a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of weight on my shoulders. We get anywhere from 50 to 75 emails a day. And a lot of those are responses to my emails about thanking them for all this stuff. And there's a lot there like, where's my order? And you feel like you're chasing time and like you're never going to catch up. And on top of multiple days of losing money, like I mentioned, it starts to eat at you. You start to wonder like, how much more can I handle? Like I'm pretty, God, I'm at the bottom of the barrel here, man. Like I don't feel like there's more. There is more that you can handle. You just got to keep going past that point. You know, and like I told you in the pre-interview that instead of opening up my gun safe, and this is the first time I've talked publicly about this. So instead of going to my gun safe, I went on a walk. And those that know me, you're in the Facebook group. I preach on going for walks all the time when things are rough, because it retrains your brain. Your brain's like working in overtime because it's trying to get through all this shit. Whenever you walk, you can only walk so fast. And it's left foot and it's right foot, and it's left foot and it's right foot. And what that does to your brain, I have no psychology to back this up other than it just works for me personally. And it's worked for a lot of people that I coach. One left foot, one right foot. It teaches your brain that it's just as simple as that. One, 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 because our brains overthink things. So I went for a walk, and I'm so glad I did, because I still have a beautiful wife. I have my 2 kids. We have a house. You know, we don't have all the big fancy stuff like people think. We don't have the Lamborghinis or any of that other bullshit, but we have each other. And so it was a really dark time, but I went for a walk instead of hitting my 6-digit code. So that was a pretty rough time. And you know, the lesson I think from that for other people is just go for a walk, and like, and just think about just putting one foot in front of the other, because that's the only way we're getting out of this, and none of us are getting out of it alive. So you might as well just enjoy the moments while they're here. Pretty soon they'll be gone.
You know, I appreciate you sharing that, man. I really do. That's you and I have that in common, and I've talked about that in my podcast too. We do get to some dark places, you know, and it's amazing the weird things that can pull you out, whether it's a walk or, you know, for me, it was walking down the hall and checking in on my boys. And I walked out of the room and broke into a cold sweat. Like, what the hell are you thinking about? You know, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks, you know, and the reason that I wanted to ask you about that after you brought it up to me, you know, earlier, was because there's so many guys that have that same thing. You know, it's amazing to me when I hear from people and they're like, man, I've never heard anybody say that before, you know, and now you for the first time, you know, somebody like you know, 13,000 followers, man, successful business. You felt that way just a little while ago. Guys feel like when they feel that way, like there's something wrong with them, like they're all alone, like they're just broken, you know, and it's
Nobody can
almost
possibly
normal.
understand what you're going through.
Yeah, it's almost a normal thing to go through, you know. I mean, at this point, I think in the world, for guys, you know, who are dealing with the stuff that we have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
And it just really helps to have somebody like you come on and say, hey, you know, it happened to me too. And you know what? You go for a walk, you shake it off, you move on. You know, it doesn't mean you're broken. You don't have to go to therapy for 5 years. It happens. It's okay. You know, and not guys don't feel like it's okay.
I think you hit it. I think you hit it. The nail on the head is like, we feel like we're lost. We feel like we're broken. And in reality, that's why I started this brand, is because I am broken. Like, one of the most profound lyrics I ever heard was, and for the life of me, I can't remember the artist, but the hospital ain't for the anything for the sick, and the church isn't, the church is for the broken, you know. And like, we're all living this life, and we think that we've got to keep up with somebody else. We've got to, like, we're comparing ourselves to so many other people. I fall prey to it too. Like, it happens. Like, nobody is immune to this shit, right? Like you've said, like somebody like me with 13,000 followers or whatever, like, to me, like, the number matters because it's moving and we're reaching more people. That's
Right.
what matters. Like, what matters is the direct messages that show up and say, like, yo, I have a podcast and I want you on it. Like that, like, yo, like, thanks so much for being real. Like, that's what matters. Like, and as it grows, that's what I'm concerned about, is making sure that we don't lose that connection, because that's what makes us, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, like, I have big goals and visions for this. Like, I want the lady that works with us, her name is Cass. Like, I want her to oversee all of the production in the warehouse. I want her and that takes growth. We need a bigger space. We need an automatic press. We need people to run an automatic press. Like I have big plans too. But I've come to it's just naive for me to say like I've realized this whenever it's like every day is a new realization.
Fair.
And every day is a new opportunity. So anybody who wakes up and they're like, hey, I learned this yesterday and I'm good today. Like, no, you're still going to apply what you learned yesterday to today. So like, we're all just learning.
Right.
And what was that first question?
Yeah, no, that's all
legal.
Right. Yeah.
That legal stuff. Yeah. So trademark infringement. Yeah. We got popped with one of those and we didn't know it. I just flat ass did not realize that in the apparel game, like, but people who come up with like phrases or whatever, or maybe they take from something else and they copyright it or trademark it, you can no longer use that in your production. And so I had a very fortunate experience. Not fortunate in the beginning because we had to stop all production on this shirt immediately. And at the time it was our top selling shirt. Since then we have like surpassed that. Like I thought, like this is a life lesson. Like I thought that whenever we lost that, we were going to lose it all.
Really?
Yeah. I thought we were going to lose it all. And in reality, that had to happen so we could get more. And like, yeah. It's made me a smarter businessman. It's made me a smarter, not negotiator, because I did know negotiation, but talking with the individual who owned the company that I was infringing upon, like I just straight up man to man called him. It's like, yo, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. What do I need to do to make this right? And it like me calling him probably saved me, who knows, with legal fees, but right. Minimum 50 grand. Like, and as I told you, we started with nothing. We started with nothing. So 50 grand was not in the books for me to repay. And I don't even know, it could have been more. I don't know how much legal fees are as far as fighting those battles. And I would love to never find out what reality is. We'll probably find out sometime.
In my podcast on divorce, one of the first points that I point out to everybody is, hey, remember that lawyers get paid by the hour. Uh-huh. And so, I'm feeling your pain there a little bit, but no, I appreciate you sharing that too. Because, a lot of guys worry about that sort of thing, well, hey, if I start a business, I don't know enough about it. Do I have to hire an attorney? These things can happen, whatever, in any business that you're running,
at any level.
If somebody could call me tomorrow and say, hey, you can't have that podcast anymore. Here's why, because some lawyer woke up and found some fine print and sent something to me in the mail. I don't know. Yeah. So all you can really do is you go for it. You do your best. If something happens, you try to handle it, and you adapt and carry on.
100%.
And that's what you did. You're like, hey, this is a great shirt, but we can't use it anymore. So you know what? Okay, we're going to stop this. Let's get another shirt out.
The moment that we got off the phone, we stopped. Like that moment, like we were like, hey. We just knew the right thing to do was to stop in the moment. Like it wasn't it was literally nothing other than like so our core values, they're my personal core values, but I impart them in a business, in a company, because it's what I live by. So it's what the company will live by. Right. And our first core value is there's never a wrong time to do the right thing, ever.
Nice. Well said.
And we live by that. I will die by that.
Yeah. Excellent. Listen, I've had you on for a long time, and I really appreciate your time and all of the honesty and sharing, man. I mean, anybody who's listening to this has gotten a real good chance to get to know you as a human being, not just as the owner of a company. And I really do think that is going to help, a lot of people, because they're going to realize, hey, it's this guy's real. And if he can do it, you know what? I can do it. And that's what I want people to understand, when I'm talking to them. So do you have any, say final thoughts that you want to throw out to anybody who's, The guy who's at home, who's thinking about a side hustle. He's got a job's not paying him enough. It's not enough to handle the bills, but he's got an idea, right? What's your parting wisdom to the guy who's got the idea and just might want to do something, but for some reason isn't?
Don't hold back.
Don't hold back.
Yeah, whenever you have an idea, you're really apprehensive to tell anybody about the idea. Whenever you have an idea, because there's two things, right? You're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of them thinking that you're nuts. That will never work out. The second thing you're concerned with is they're going to come up with every reason why you'll fail. And we don't need any help on why we'll fail. We got plenty of shit floating in our head, right?
Right.
So if you have an idea, don't tell a single person, do it. Action speaks louder than words. Anything. I started living by this a long time ago. Lindsay, my wife, I started to tell her like, hey, here's what I'm going to do. And because I hated the resistance in that, I just started doing and getting the results and saying, here's what I did. So my shirts, everything that we have here, I didn't tell her I bought the shit. I didn't tell her that I was doing all this. I did it. I proved my point, and then I made it happen. And people sometimes they feel like they have to get people's approval, especially those close to us, before we do anything. And that's that kills all creativity.
So it's asking for forgiveness instead of asking for permission.
Yeah. And like, I really ask Lindsay, I don't ever come to her and say like, I told you so, but like, I really do, like deep down in my core, like I would rather feel like I could say I told you so than to be like, I wonder if I could have. Like, I wonder if I could have started that apparel company, what it would have been like.
Yeah. So
many times people, they want to start something and they'll spend 2 years, while there's those of us who are 2 years into this. And like, you had the same idea the same time I had my idea, but one of us took action. Like one of my favorite pictures I've seen floating around is the two guys who had the alcoholic father. One guy's a bum and the other guy's in a business suit. Right. You have the same upbringing, but one of you chose your outcome. And that's, I will choose hard work every single day over a handout.
Right on. Any regrets?
What's that?
Any regrets?
Hold on. I just came up with a shirt idea.
That's okay. Don't let me get in the way.
Over handouts.
When that shirt becomes your bestseller, I want to shout out because I was here at the time of conception.
You were here. No regrets. Yeah, no regrets. Everything happens for a reason. It happened at the time it needed to happen. And I think there's very few people who can answer that honestly. But I have no regrets. I think I've done everything I said I was going to do. And I'm living up to the promise that I've asked God for the opportunity, like I don't want to squander an opportunity because of my mind getting in a way. But this is when you have passion, it's somebody asked me the other day, they said, you talk a lot about your passion and how you get it. And like, how do I know when I have that? And I'm like, whenever you'll do whatever the fuck you have to do, and you're okay with not making a single penny, that's when you know you have passion. Like, and this is the passion. Like the money is just the byproduct. The money is just we have to have money to buy more shirts, to print more shirts, to send more shirts, to get in front of more people, to continue bettering their lives. Right. And that's been it. Like day one, that has been it the entire time. So like passion, like I don't have regrets because I have passion, and like I will pivot and adjust as many times as I need to. Are there times I feel like I could have chosen to be a better husband, a better father, a better reaction to certain things? Sure, I think we all do. But I think in the same regard, like, we had to say those things because that's what got us here. One of the things I told my wife, is probably the biggest thing I've ever told her, was she said, "You're not the man that I married." And I said, "Good. I don't want to be." And the look on her face before I explained my answer was just like devastation. But I told her, I was like, "I don't want to be the same person you married, because I want to be better. I want to, like, I have to get better. And if I'm not getting better, then I'm dying. I'm staying the same. And like, I don't want to wake up in 50 years and like have a sexless marriage and be like just really mad at the other person. Like, F that. Like, I want us to go have fun together, hold hands, pinch each other's butts at 55 and 60, you know, like the stuff that people are like, "Oh, you old people are funny." Like that. I want that, you know. I don't want to be the same person who's cantankerous and rigid.
Right on. It's a good vision to have.
I try.
That's a good vision to have.
No,
Well,
but
listen,
thanks for having me on, man. Like, this has been fun. I needed it.
I'm glad. I really am. Honestly, you're a great guest. You keep going. I don't think I'm a good guest, but I appreciate you being willing to share, you know, this sort of thing. I mean, you're exactly the guy that I thought you were when I asked you to be on here, to be honest with you. You know, and I'm just I'm honored I got to know you better, man. I really am.
Man, thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
yeah, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk more here in a second, but listen, for everybody else, thank you for taking your very valuable time for listening to our podcast today. I hope that you got something out of this. I know I did. Why do we want you to listen to a guy like Justin? Couple things. I usually sign off with the same three words, same three phrases. I'm going to do it again today. The reason that you want to listen to a guy like this is because he is the epitome of saying, "Hey, I deserve more in my life, and I'm going to go get it." And you can do that too, because, and here it comes, you're worth it. And the way that you do that is you got to believe it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction from this and hearing the comments back from all you folks on this podcast. And just remember that according to the Power of Man, it is never, ever, ever too late to find your inner power. And that's what this is all about. So until next time.